What's up, everybody, and welcome into the Backliners podcast, Aggro and Barracuda, as per usual. This week, we are joined by former mid laner extraordinaire, now support extraordinaire, Tyler Herwind Whitney. T, thanks for coming on the show, buddy. You might be one of our top guests now. I feel like this is like your third or fourth time on the show.
You know what? It feels like my first time, honestly. Every time is just such a special occasion to me that it's just so different.
The magic's still there.
On the show.
Right.
Yeah, that's right.
The magic's still there. We love having you. Well, you know, if the people didn't stop begging for you to come back on, then we would stop having you on. But it's just incessant.
It's nonstop.
Yeah, that's all we hear about. When is Heroin coming back on the podcast? So now we can put those fears to rest, at least for a little bit, that you're back on the show. Pretty big week in Smite, but of course we can't talk about that yet. We got 30 minutes until the Smite talk starts. That's typically how it goes around here these days. Dude, I haven't gotten a chance to set up the Smite talk like jingle that I got sent, or he sent me a whole soundboard. I gotta set it up. I've just been really busy.
A whole soundboard?
Yeah, I got a soundboard. I'm gonna use I've got a stream decker or whatever they're called, like the little guys.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get it set up so I can just press that and have a soundboard on demand. But I apologize to whoever's been sending those to me. I do really appreciate it. And I swear I will get them set up. I just haven't yet.
So we have multiple ones, not just it's my talk time?
I don't know if they're full on little jingles like the one I sent you.
Yeah.
I didn't even check the soundboard thing last week because I was quite busy.
It's just screaming.
Yeah, it's just absolute agony happening. What did I want to say at the very beginning of this podcast? Oh!
I don't know.
Barra, we knew it was only a matter of time, right? Until something I said on the podcast became a Reddit post.
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
It did last week. There was a big Reddit post about some of the things, and I knew as soon as we were done with that show, bro. I knew it. Mm-hmm. I knew that it had happened. I knew that I didn't know what it would be, but I knew it would be something. But it went. I thought the responses that AJ had and that I had, and everyone seemed pretty responsive to it and all that kind of stuff. So it went okay. But I think that it just goes to show why I have to be careful about the way I say things. T is a man who understands that sometimes your words can get taken out of context and they can interpret things that you didn't mean to say. Right, T?
Yeah, I mean, when you've got such a dedicated anti-fan base out there, they'll find something. Oh, they always do. I like to think there's no point in fighting against the machine.
You just give them what they want, you think?
They're gonna get it either way.
All right, here's your clip for Reddit. I don't like you if you play Bakasura as a person.
Is that directly at Oath or
it's whoever needs to know?
Okay.
It's whoever needs to know.
Okay. That's fair.
Yeah, I don't know. That's your Reddit out of context clip, I guess, for the week. Maybe we should start sponsoring that part of the show.
Yeah, that should be our intro question.
Our intro question.
Well, okay. Not an intro question, I guess. More of an intro statement by you.
Okay, let me try this, okay? Hold on. Let's try going something like this. Hey, everybody, and welcome into the Backliners podcast, Aggro and Barracuda, as per usual. And if you play healers, then you don't have any skill. What if I just drop one of those right in there, right at the very beginning of each episode that Reddit can...
I like that a lot, actually.
Yeah, you think that'll work?
That was a really good take as well. I firmly agree with that.
Okay, yeah. Well, I mean, T, you've been known to abuse an Aphrodite from time to time.
What?
A Hell, even, occasionally.
Yeah, but it's an aggressive version of that.
Oh, okay.
It's not like a beta version. It's
right.
Maxing my Afro too, of course.
Right.
I'm not cleansing my teammates when I'm playing Hell.
No, of course not.
It's a damage Hell.
Yes. Yeah.
Damage.
Only dark stance.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it'd be a rare day to find me in light stance.
Is that a good Smurf? Dark stance only, play Hell, never switch stance.
Yeah.
Wait, this is genius. They're going to buy so much anti-heal and it won't matter at all. They're going to buy an Ankh, they're going to buy Pestilence, Contagion, Divine Ruin. It won't matter.
How many stance switches are there in Smite right now?
There's a good amount,
There's
Artio,
Tyr, Hell, Uller, Artio. Is there 5? You could do Tiamat, and then you could never change a stance.
Dude,
Play
I tried to do
those.
that. Okay, my inting and internal arena play tests is well documented on this podcast. I asked my team if I could play ground Tiamat only, a couple weeks ago, and they said no. That was too troll.
Well,
I was like, guys, I'll build full tank. I'm gonna knock
dog
him up.
mode.
I'm gonna tank.
Yeah, full tank. That's so good for how the passive works as well.
Right, like that's
You'll
gotta
have so
be.
much mitigation.
I'm gonna have so much mitigation. That's gotta be good. I was upset that they didn't let me. Yeah, I think that. How would I describe those types of accounts? Just like bit accounts where you're just like doing it for a bit. They can be really good. I mean, obviously the best one of all time, bird form only. A player who played Wukong and only used bird form no matter what. It was some of the hardest I've ever laughed watching bird form only, like on a stream, and they would be like right on top of someone and they would bird and then insta cancel it like they would like Tiger.
Just use it as an auto cancel at that point. Yeah,
just use it as an auto cancel. They would literally only bird. And I thought that was like one of the funniest things I've ever seen. I love those types of accounts. Is it obviously not trying to win as much as you could? Yes. And so you shouldn't do it.
I wonder what elo you could get to with like melee only Uller or like offense only tier. I don't know what the tier stances are called.
Yeah, that's a good question. I think it would have to be...
If you were doing it from the beginning, it'd be fine, right? Because that's like, you'd be where you belong. Like, doing it.
That's true, actually.
That is true. And
it
if
would
you're
actually
trying
be
your
unfair
hardest,
against the other team if you stopped doing it once you started.
Yeah, you wouldn't... Which would be... Okay, let's decide on what would be the best stances for each of these gods to climb with.
Okay.
I think it's obviously Axe Stance Uller is way better, right?
You'd have to go Axe Stance.
You have to have your jump.
Your wave clear would be so bad at that point, though.
Well, you'd play like jungle. You wouldn't even play...
Oh.
You wouldn't even play
your gank
Hunter.
would be jumping and axing?
Uh-huh. No, what do you mean? You hit the two, you clap them together, and then you use one, that's your game.
You struck fear into their heart.
Surely it's bow, and you're just...
Well, yeah, I mean, you could be a regular hunter, but, like, you wouldn't have any mobility, Like, we're talking a stun. You get a stun,
mobility
right?
for what, man?
Yeah. Harry has a good point. Mobility for what? You're literally a gnat at that point.
You're just like half a Mercury as melee only Uller, with a ranged stun.
You're like an eighth of a Mercury.
Merc's looking pretty good on this patch, guys. I might be okay with half my god pool would be good being an eighth of a Mercury right now. That's all I'm saying.
And then Hell would have to be Dark Stance. Tiamat would have to be, I don't know what non-dog mode stance is. Flying stance, yeah. Tier would have to be push stance, I think.
Artio would have
I don't
to be
think so,
human
actually.
stance, right?
You go defense stance tier?
Yeah, because then you can actually like farm and like stay out for a while.
You guys are so scared. That's embarrassing.
Yeah. No, I think
the knockup, I mean, honestly, getting Blink knocked up by the blue stance could be more disorienting.
That's true. You can boost speed that one.
You might forget that character can do that again.
Yeah. And then, okay, for Artio... Bear?
No, I think it's got to be human. You get the cripple, you get the ranged root, and you get the healing. The bear only has the melee stun and like some damage.
Your clear is probably better, and you have a dash.
Yeah, but guys, if we're going bow stance Uller, then you can't be giving me mobility as the option to go bear stance.
Artio's a tank.
Yeah, but you get blink on tanks. You got the mobility right there.
Melee Uller is the same as bear form Artio.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So if we thought bow was better, then we got to go bow.
She's melee both forms.
Yeah, this guy hasn't figured out how you can range auto.
How can you guys agree on such a stupid take without like coordinating it?
Wait, I'm not trolling. I think Druid form is better for Artio. I'm not kidding.
I think it's close.
I think they both suck.
To Uller. Well, yeah, they both clearly suck.
I think if you're max range stance, Druid stancing someone, you're not going to be able to cripple them. Like, you're just going to watch them walk away from you.
What do you mean? You blink cripple all the time.
Oh, I meant like leading with your 3.
When you cripple blink. Yeah, you just cripple blink, and then you 3 them after they get away. I don't know.
It's definitely bear stance, bro.
Wait, Mike is saying
it's gotta be bear
stance,
and you
no
go
way.
Bumbas. Then you'll just be like
well,
bear moding.
True.
Bro, you can go Bumbas on literally any god. And you're
but you got
good.
a channeled ability and Druid
That's
stance.
true.
It's terrible for Bumbas.
Yeah, and the 2 and go right on cooldown. Okay, Bumbas, bear, and that's why they both start with B. And then, of course, you've got Druid and not Bumbas. I think that's the way. I think that's the way it goes. It doesn't help my argument that Mike is saying bear, but it won't make me change my mind. I'm sticking Druid here. That's
Is there any?
It's got to be.
Any other characters? Merlin, maybe. I don't know if he really counts.
Yeah. God, Merlin would be so bad if you couldn't change stance. That one wouldn't even be fun. Like, it would be kind of fun in a troll way to do the other ones, I think. It would not be fun to have 3 buttons as Merlin and only 2 deal some damage. But Arcane has got to be the best, right?
It'd probably be Ice Dance. I think Ice Dance is probably the most consistent.
Yeah, it's definitely the most consistent. But God, you are so bad. Like, just Ice Dance Merlin is so bad.
Well, why don't you and your boys, you have 2 boys, and each of you play a different version of the Merlin, and you hit Qs at different times, and they'd be like, oh, thank God we got Ice Merlin. I'm so sick of Fire Merlin.
Dude, that is so funny. That is such a good idea. Also, the next time there's like one of the match of the days where you can pick as many of the same gods as you want, picking 3 Merlins and all only staying in one stance is very funny.
That actually is pretty good.
Yeah, we should
do that. We have 3 people right here.
That's true. All right, there's a content idea for you. We got it locked up. Let's do that.
Me versus 2 mage players.
Yeah, you'll be fine. We'll give you Ice Merlin. It's the easiest.
Oh, okay, thank you.
I'll get Fire Merlin. I'll just go 0-20. I don't care. And then Heroine can carry us.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, sure. Is there any other ones? Any other gods we're forgetting? I can't think of any.
Hold on, I'll pull up a little list real quick. I wonder, like, I'm sure everyone's like, this bit's.
I mean, you can't do like Arthur, right?
No, Arthur would be completely invincible.
Wait, Arthur only 1 or the 2 or the 3?
You mean the big ult?
I'd be spin only Arthur for sure.
Spin only Arthur's, like whatever the other names
Oh, you
are.
just get the 2 spins? That's the only 2 abilities? Yeah, that would be awesome. I would love that. I would have a ton of fun. Morgan Le Fay, if there was just the 3 versions of her 1, you just get like.
True.
She would be sober. What if those were just her 3 normal abilities?
Yeah, that's what I mean. That'd be insane. She would be so good. Would she be better in that way? Probably, right? That's just so much AoE.
Mm-hmm.
And so much
just dropping all of them over a wall.
Just one after the other. Holy crap! I should do that in dev just to like make a little like funny video. That would be fun. Yeah, I think those are the only ones that I can think of.
So on to the tournament or what? We bought enough time?
I guess we can talk about Smite if that's what you want to do. I mean,
technically, we have been talking about Smite.
That's true, yeah. Take that, Mrs. Ma. We're talking about Smite this whole time.
Neil's regretting ever telling us that.
I know. I know he is. Well, that's on him. He should think before he says stuff. I don't think that we should go over each and every match. That doesn't seem like
that'd be
a good
terrible.
Use of our time. But what did we learn? I think that, there was so many questions coming into this about the meta and what teams were going to play and, what players were going to be good and that kind of stuff as well when it comes to SEC playing on LAN especially. Mm-hmm. When I asked the question, what did you learn most from watching this first week of Smite Masters? What are some of the first things that come to mind, Hurry?
Auto attack junglers are good.
Mm-hmm.
Like Merc and Nem kind of making a return. You still need some kind of pseudo frontliner in solo. No one's playing hunters over there still, so they're just like whatever can still fill that role. So like Baron's like a new one. Mm-hmm. I see a lot of people play like other stuff like that. Like some people play like Zhong, some people like play stuff like Set. It just depends on like the person's. But yeah, still frontliners there. And then I thought people still played mages a lot. I thought it'd be a lot more like double hunter comps.
Me too.
Hunters in mid. And I don't know. I still think like things like assassins still seem to like have a place too, like Susanna and stuff like that saw some success, and some assassins maybe not, but overall, things didn't change as much as people would have expected. Also, a lot more snowball by the teams who knew what they were doing than I would expect.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's
I think
what
some
I was gonna
games
say.
went longer, but the game still definitely snowball. Like a good fight in the mid game still can be pretty like game over-esque if it's done right.
Yeah, Bera, how about for you?
I learned that you can go Hades solo and not do any damage, but you can tank a lot of damage.
Yo, did you know that he had a 2-second fear on a regular ability, by the way? Did you know that about Hades?
That's OP.
Yeah, so I still don't think what Deathwalker was doing was great. But he was fearing people, and he was ulting for 0 damage.
That's right.
But he was setting up zeros a lot. The main thing I noticed in the earlier sets was mages were doing a lot more than hunters damage-wise. I think it's because hunters are only really good if you're able to like free cast in a team fight, but a lot of the team fights that they were having were very mage-centric, like over walls or like poking to begin or into fight. There wasn't like a lot of hunters being able to free cast, and I think I don't know if that was just up to the way the teams were playing, but we didn't see hunters really shining, in my opinion, until the later sets. Where I think like Stuart had like an insane performance on the ROM. He still ended up losing that game. And then Doomembro obviously looking really good here and there. But I think his team like plays more like 4-1 style, where the 4 other people are doing whatever they want on the map, and then he's just kind of left out on an island sometimes. So it's not like him like playing poorly, obviously. It's just kind of like the game's not around him sometimes.
Right.
Which I think is kind of just the way Hunter is right now. There seems to be a lot of people just kind of hanging out together. And sometimes never coming to duo, and then we saw games like the game where Griff had, where he literally never got to load into that game.
Yeah, that was a tough one.
He was like 4 levels down, and he was just like AFK farming, like not able to farm perp, not able to farm red, barely able to farm green. So I think that the SEC team's kind of defined a little meta. I thought I would see a bit more Charybdis than I did. I was kind of surprised that character wasn't getting a lot of play. I think I only saw her like once or twice throughout the entire tournament, which is pretty surprising. But the variability in hunter picks was pretty high, and as a base note, I saw a lot more warriors than I thought I would.
Me too.
So it sounds like, maybe some soul winners were a bit overreacting, but,
Well, it's tough to say for sure one way or the other.
Yeah, none of us would say that, obviously.
No.
Because we love our frontliners out there, but, maybe just a little. We'll see. We'll see how many warriors are played when the, higher SPL teams start playing.
Yeah. I mean, that's definitely gonna. I think that what we saw last week and what we're gonna see this week are gonna change a lot. I think the number one thing that I realized while watching this week,
here it is,
was that cooking lunch sucks. Okay, having to cook your own lunch and then clean it up and do all this nonsense is a complete waste of my time. And Barracuda absolutely blew up my spot. How did you know, Barra, that as the weather gets warmer, we can count on Factor to help us spend less time at home in the kitchen and more time enjoying the springtime with no cooking, grocery shopping, or dishes? I'm tilted that Barra called me out right before this, man. Factor is a meal delivery service that they hooked us up with some meals, and we absolutely love them. And I've been missing them, bro. We got to get our next one in. I'm working with them and try and get us some more because it is absolutely awesome. Not trolling, numerous times over these last few weeks, I've been like, man, I do not feel like cooking. I really wish I could just go in my fridge, grab a Factor meal, and pop it in the microwave and be done in just a few minutes.
Yeah, those things are absolutely banging.
Dude, they're so good.
I still remember that night, where I ate a lot of those. I don't remember how many I ate that night, but I went to town on those Factor meals, and they really carried me through that night of absolute starvation where I was just eating everything in sight. And, because we've been double blocking kind of nonstop, new patch, had to scrim a lot. Yeah. I think those Factor meals would have come in clutch for me if I didn't have to go downstairs and cook, in between every double block, and my brain's been frying because of it. So really been missing out on Factor. Absolute delicious meals. Real time saver as well.
The absolute best. They're perfect, health conscious, grab and go add-ons like smoothies and juices. And I don't have to do any meal plan or prep, and I can still eat well. Now that I leave my meals to Factor. Factor makes it easy for me to eat clean 24/7 with fresh, never frozen prepared meals that are so delicious you wouldn't believe they're actually good for you. And for the feel good for summer sort of promotion they're doing, choose from Factor's Calorie Smart and Keto options. Is it keto or keto?
Keto, I believe.
Keto, okay. Keto options with built-in portion control is a great tool to help you get fit for summer. Factor now offers 30 meals per week. Holy cow, that's a lot. Where you can choose from a variety of new meals every single week. There's options for everybody, Barry. I'm glad you asked. On top of that, Factor gives you the option to change it up and select any plan size from between 4 to 18 meals per week. So if you've got like a Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs sort of situation, you've got 18 meals per week in order to feed the whole family. Busy schedule for both lunch and dinner, no worries. Just add an extra 2, 3, or even 4 meals to your order. Factor also saves time by delivering chef-crafted meals directly to your doorstep and eliminates the hassle of grocery shopping and meal prep, not to mention cleanup. That's big for me. I hate doing dishes. No dishes to wash here. Plus, every Factor meal arrives pre-prepared and ready to eat in 2 minutes. That's even faster than ordering in. Factor tackles the tough stuff so I don't have to. They're registered dietitians and expert chefs work hand in hand to create meals with nutritious ingredients. And they know my preferences. Bera, now eating vegan these days. They offer vegan and veggie meals, keto meals, which I've now learned how to pronounce, low-calorie options, cold-pressed juices, smoothies, energy bites, plant-based bars, extra proteins, veggie sides. My God, how much stuff do they give you?
Lord, yeah, I didn't know they had this much.
Oh, geez. All right. Head to go.factor75.com/backliners120 and use code backliners120 to get, you guessed it, $120 off. That's backliners120 at go.factor, FACTOR75, those are the numbers, .com/backliners120 for $120 off. All jokes aside, I did miss having Factor meals while watching.
Okay, 100% same.
And then getting into my actual thoughts as well on it. This, I definitely was surprised at the amount of mages and warriors that we saw. I do. Well, nice little there, Barry.
PBM just killing me, bro.
Yeah, he's just doing his thing. You just leave him to it. Just best to ignore him. He'll tucker himself out eventually.
It's like a little puppy dog.
Yeah, exactly. Just trolling the chat. I think that I was definitely impressed with auto attack assassins. I did not. I thought they would be good. When you're an ability-based assassin, you have so much damage in your kit that your all-in does, and if that doesn't kill them anymore, then you aren't very good anymore. But auto attack assassins, they got all the gas in the tank you could ever ask for, so it makes sense that they were better. I was surprised how good Baka was, but I'm just a notorious Bakasura hater. So, that shouldn't be too much of a surprise that I was sleeping on him a little bit. And yeah, overall, I think that it was pretty different than what I was expecting. I expected Double Hunter. I expected full damage coming out of solo. I expected Hunters to look more dominant than they really did. I think if you had avoided Twitter and Twitch leading up to this, you had no idea that what everyone thought was good. I don't think anyone watching this week would have come out and said hunters are so much better than every other class in the game, right? And that was kind of the narrative coming in. Is that still going to hold true after next week? I don't know. But just talking about this week's impressions, I think that it was interesting in that way.
Yeah, I completely lost my train of thought.
Yeah, I almost subbed for Sino's team, and I was just gonna slam a hunter mid every game because that's just like what I was having the most impact with when I was playing mid in my ranked games. And I don't really have any like scrim experience as of recent, so I just expected that to be more the case. I think there's more hunter players in the SPL, especially the teams that didn't play. Like you see Ven play like in the past, like the Chiron, and Dardes play the AMC, and Dardes even played like stuff like Rama mid and stuff. And I think if the items are strong enough for that right now, and I expect if people aren't doing it, they've at least tried it a good bit, and maybe it'll like come out like periodically. But I do think like the value of a mage has really like I really underestimated it, and I often do. But like I especially like if the game is gonna stall out and you have to like dance around an objective for a while or play slow sieges and stuff, a mage is easily gonna be like the most annoying thing to deal with. Like the game where like Krim was playing Thoth and they had like Baron solo and like Ymir frontline or something. They had no way to threaten Thoth ever, and I just know that there's no way they can ever win because that guy is just gonna like hit everyone from too far away too often, and they're not gonna be able to do anything about it. And that's like a mage thing, you know. Like hunters don't really do that, so they should always be considered. I think I don't know if mages are like bad or whatever. Like I've heard some people say that, but I certainly think they're still pretty solid.
Yeah, I think they definitely still have their applications. It seemed like the mages worthless, warriors worthless, certainly seems overblown after week 1, but I think that we should all probably reserve judgment for week 2 and what the top end SPL teams are going to be doing. Man, I can't wait to watch this week. I think it is going to be so much fun. There was a lot of crazy games, and the one that I'm sure everyone is waiting for us to talk about is the Solar Scarabs going winless this weekend. They get 2-0'd by the Valks in 2 fairly convincing games. I don't think either of those, if memory serves, were like big. Game 1, the Valks came back, right?
Yeah, game 1, Scarabs had a pretty big lead, and they overextended near a red buff for no reason for some reason, and then they just kind of like kept diving in, and it just seemed very like trolly.
Yeah.
And then game 2, I was genuinely tilted at Scream's performance. My man just seemed completely out of character, and I don't know, like normally he's like insanely good and insanely clean.
Right.
But he was just making like really awkward plays. Like kind of nonstop. And I think the front line for Scarabs just did not have a good performance at all. I think Stewart was by far their best player this weekend, and Scarabs just completely dropped the ball. I mean, they're probably beating themselves up really hard right now off of their performance this weekend.
I'm sure.
It didn't seem like the Scarabs that we kind of knew, I guess, like the scrappy Scarabs. Like, they played Erlong support with an Izanami ADC against one of the SEC teams. I think it was Wardens. I think it was Sino's team.
Yeah, it was.
And then after that, they never went back to that style of draft. Like, they never went back to, like, the full smork pressure of, like, we have a fighting support, we have a clearing ADC, like, we're just going to fight duo side nonstop. The ADC will never get a purple this game, like, we're just going to run everywhere and control the map. And then they never went back to that style, and it really confused me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was really disappointed in Scarabs. Like, as a Scarabs fan, I was just really confused.
Yeah, real quick before Hurry, I do want to get your thoughts. I said the Scarabs went winless. I was incorrect. That's on me. They did beat the Sinos team, the Callan Wardens. They beat them 1-0. So my mistake on that. But Hurry, yeah, your thoughts on the Scarabs this weekend?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think it's very concerning more than anything. I mean, it's not the end of the world. Fortunately, it's not, Worlds time. I mean, it still matters as much as anything for a pro team at this stage. It's the end of the split tournament, and they're not going to be in the main event for it. So that's concerning in and of itself. But the way that they lost and the way also in tangent that they started winning when they got Scream a while ago, I think are very related. Because Scream kind of joined and he gave the team a lot of direction. But I feel like if he's off, then the team has no chance. And because they're like listening to him, and if he's if he's shut down or if he's in a bad mood and he's just like making tilt plays, people aren't thinking for themselves and they're just like listening to him and following him around or just trying to like make him happy. I think that's pretty clear. Like, a person that I coach, actually, we were looking over the games a bit and just talking about like some decision making stuff. And I talk a lot about, if someone's making a mistake in front of you or like a bad play in front of you and you know that it's going to be bad for you to help or like put yourself out, like just do what's best for you and don't like just to make someone else happy, like if they're frustrated in the moment, like that's fine. Like people are going to be, but it's just better habit forming to play for yourself and make the plays that you know are good. So there's a play where Scream like dodgy 3'd under the tower is probably the most like heinous play that I saw him make. Where like he's definitely dead for that play. They just got a bunch of kills. They could just go and do gold. They just had a really good fight, which is already a bad enough mistake. But then Bobby follows him in the tower as well, and Bobby's not going to be able to save him. He's not going to be able to kill anyone, and it just looks so silly because from my perspective, like the biggest mistake is Scream making the play in the first place. But then why is Bobby following him under the tower as if like he can see nothing's going to happen, and then he's dying, and then they're running away, and Stu's running away. He has beads, and the only person that can catch him is Athena. I have to think that he's saying he has beads and he's fine. But then Bronick walks in with no beads to try to slow them off of like Stu or something, and then he gets taunted and dies.
Yep.
And so the people are just making these like weird decisions to like help each other. You usually don't see it as much at the pro level, but it's indicative of a bigger problem for them. So I hope that they can go and just like play their individual games the way that they know how to play, and that they're not that reliant on Scream as maybe it looks. Like Scream should be able to have a bad day and that team still play well if they're a good team.
Yep.
Yeah,
but it looked like Scream having a bad day meant that they had no chance, and I think that's concerning.
Man, we should get an intern for the show, Bear. What do you think about that? We should get a backliners intern that we can just boss around, tell him to go do stuff for us. I want an intern to find me a clip, because I interned many times, and that would be like my type of thing. They'd be like, hey, we need this clip from like months ago from this show. I don't know exactly when it was. Find it. I need it. And then I would do so. And then I would do it, I think we could use an intern, don't you?
Yeah.
I could use a home chef who's hiring for free as well, by the way.
Whoa. I never said for free, We've got gems to work with.
True.
There are options out there.
Wait,
hold on. Let me finish my intern point.
Okay.
I need our intern to go and get the clip of me at the very beginning of season 9, our SPL preview show, and what I said about the solar scarabs, because I said, and I remember the quote, the scarabs are one bad split from Scream away from 8th place. Like, if Scream doesn't play the way Scream did play last year, this team, I just don't see how they're going to function without Scream playing at an MVP type level. And to be clear, Scream was playing I think Scream was the most valuable player in the league last year for what he did to that Scarabs team. And so whether it's Scream, Scream his whole career has been a streaky player. I think that's just the type of player that he is. And I don't think that that's a massive downside. You need to, if you're going to be on a team with world championship aspirations and Scream is your jungler, I think you need to have a plan B, a viable plan B for when that happens. Because I think it will, but it usually doesn't last that long, and it's worth how high the highs are. So I don't want people to think that it means that Scream is a worse player or anything like that. I really don't. Like, I would if I were GM of a team, Scream would be pretty high on my tier list of players to lead a team. I think that he's got a lot of really good strengths there, but he cannot be the only voice. He cannot be, and I'm not saying that no one else on the team, is a leader or anything like that, but like Tyler said, the way that they play, it's very obvious that if Scream isn't having a good game, their chances of winning go to single digits. Quickly.
I think it mainly looks so bad because Bobby was having a similarly really poor performance this weekend, and I think outside of his Erlong game, I don't think he had much impact on any game, and he was back to his getting caught out and dying at terrible points during the game again, and like you said, Aggro, when they picked up Scream, it seemed to fix that issue for Bobby.
Yeah.
And Bobby was making way better decisions around the map with where he is and what he's pressuring, and even his Umoja, his Umoja looked insanely good.
Yeah.
He was controlling so many fights so well as Umoja, and I feel like I didn't get to see any considerable impact from Bobby for whatever reason this tournament outside of the Erlong game.
Yeah.
And it just seemed like two pieces of their puzzle, like you said, in my opinion, two of their biggest pieces of their puzzle. I mean, I think that's a big piece for any team.
Right,
if you're supporting jungler having a really off day or a really off time, it's basically impossible to win. And I think that's for most teams where if you're supporting jungler just struggling, I think it's basically impossible. I think you have a 0% chance if both of them are struggling.
Yeah, to be clear, I think the only person who played okay, even, not to say that he only played okay, I think he did play well, but the only person who was even okay was Stewart all week. I thought everyone else had really bad moments, and still some good ones, but were more often than not making the game harder to win and not easier to win.
Yeah, I won't say Scary had a bad performance, but I think that his game is impacted a lot off of Bobby and Scream.
I mean, when you're a solo laner and your jungler and your support are super behind and can't do anything, you're just on an island on the front line and you can't, what are you supposed to do, right? They're just going to 2v1 you every fight and you just can't do anything about it. But frankly, Scary has not played well enough this year for me to give him the benefit of that doubt. Whereas I think Stu has. So that's kind of where I'm at. The question, I think, on a lot of people's minds, and maybe this is getting a little bit too first takey. That's a sports reference that I don't know if either of you will get. But
nope.
Does this weekend, do you think, does this warrant a serious discussion about making some type of roster move if you're the Solar Scarabs? Do you think that after this weekend you would be considering it, Hurry?
I don't know. I mean, it's so tough, especially with the situation. I know better than anyone on my time on a United. Not 2 years ago. Just being in that situation where you really have to get to the point where you feel like it is not fixable for me to and you need to have a similar talk a few times before you start doing that. There's a lot of routes that you can go to start to fix those problems, or at least try to fix those problems, and I think it's very important that you try, because ultimately, even if you change your team, even if you change some of those players, before they had Scream, who was there in the jungle, I'm not saying that's who they would replace or change or whatever, but it just goes to show there's not really a bunch of options for them, and the options that they do have are far from guarantees, and at least as of now they know each other. So it kind of makes more sense to me, unless there was a really obvious option, or someone was really, really, really underperforming on a consistent basis, that you kind of go through those conversations and you kind of go through the fixing process, especially using your coach as well. And then, if you kind of revisit it a few times and it's not fixing, then maybe do it. That's kind of what we did on United. I mean, at the end of the day, on a United, we were 0-10. You can't be 0-10. You just can't. It comes with so many other problems that aren't just being 0-10.
Right.
It causes so many mental problems, so many disputes.
No matter how unlucky
nothing
you
is
are,
working, you don't know where to begin.
No matter how unlucky you are, and let's be clear, no one is more unlucky than Hurry. Okay, no one.
Thank you for the shout out.
It can't just be bad luck to get you to 0-10, right?
So there's just something wrong.
Problems. Sure.
There's something very wrong.
Yeah.
And you'll know when you hit that point.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
because
yeah,
people
you
just
do.
give up. People just give up, or you can tell that people are just completely unhappy with someone else. Especially when teammates lose faith in each other, like truly lose faith, you cannot ignore it. Like it becomes pretty apparent pretty fast, and it's just not something you can work through. Like you can't magically believe in someone that you don't believe in. It's just tough.
Yeah, Barra, what do you think?
Or believing insecure. Yeah, I know. Anytime I walk to a fire giant for the last 3 years, I still think about it, like, are we gonna get this fire giant, Are we gonna get it? Like, is the Camazot's gonna steal it 1v5, Is a Yorm 3 from underground gonna steal it when he slid right past the firewalls, What's gonna
Stealthed
happen?
in, if you will.
About the roster changes, I wouldn't do roster changes because I feel like last year they had a really good performance, and I don't really know why they have had such a poor performance this year. It's just spring split, and I don't really know like what direction you would even look at to do a roster change in that team. I feel like it's not like a side laner issue for them. I feel like Stewart is disgusting. I feel like Scary is disgusting. And then it's like, what do you want to swap out of your mid trio? I feel like, yeah, Bronic didn't have like his best performance, but I feel like he didn't have like his worst performance either. But then again, it's way easier as a backliner to have like a semi-bad performance and be like a little overshadowed by your frontliner having a worse performance.
Sure.
Like, I don't know if like you could ever argue to like drop Scream, and I feel like Bobby's been, for me, very consistent. Last year, like especially after they picked up Scream, I think they looked really strong.
Yeah.
And I don't know, they looked so bad. It just was extremely out of character.
Yeah.
I mean, they might have a talk or two just as a team to try to get on the same page again. But it literally felt like, for me, after game 1 against Falcons, when they threw at that red buff, it was like their mental didn't recover for the next, like, 5 games.
Yeah.
Besides Stu, like, I think Stu was playing astronomically well.
Yeah.
I feel like the rest of them just, like, sputtered out and just kind of, like, fell flat.
Yeah. I think I could... I know that I could make an argument for either way, that they should make a roster change or they shouldn't. I think the argument against making the roster change is that they haven't been playing with Scary on LAN. It's a brand new meta where, maybe they didn't have the right meta call. It was they played in 2 separate days between the Valkyries and the Eldritch Hounds, but, it's only 2 days that they could just have off days. And, they made a deep run with a very similarly constructed roster last year. On the flip side, and I think this is pretty compelling to me, they went 1-6 this phase. Yep. And they looked every bit of a 1-6 team. I thought that overall, by the eye test, they looked like the 8th best team in the SPL. I think the Valkyries had higher moments, and looked
Valks in the beginning
overall.
Looked super good.
Yeah. I think when I think about their deep run last year, it was the right side of their map. It was Scream and it was Sot that were playing. I mean, look, I don't want to discredit anyone on that team. Baronic, Stewart, Bobby all played unbelievably well and certainly played well enough to deserve the run they went on. But Sot was playing like Season 4 Benji level solo lane.
Oh yeah, he was cracked. That was Osiris, right?
Yeah, his Osiris. Yeah. Like that was Variety Season 3, Demi Season 2. Like name your hard, Cyclone Season 2. Name your hard carry solo laner, diffing everybody. That was Sot at Worlds last year.
Yep.
And that's not to discredit what everyone else did, but you can't deny that was a big factor in their success when they were playing at their best. And Scary has had those moments. You can list Scary, Season 6 Scary on Achilles as doing similar level things to those guys. So we know that he has it in him. but it is a different team dynamic. And historically, Scream and Sot have worked very well together when they played together on Splice a few years ago. And then last year, Scream and Scary don't have that dynamic quite yet. So maybe it can build, and that can be another very strong cornerstone of this team. But it's not guaranteed. And I think we hear all the time about how staying together is really good for the team. And staying together is really good for your team's mental, and it builds camaraderie, and you get better strategies and all this kind of stuff. And I believe all of that 100%. But on the other side of the coin, you also there are benefits to making roster changes. Even if it's a completely lateral move. Even if it's the exact same, if it's the same player, but just, you didn't even know, right? It's just like it's like a different person, but it's actually the exact same skill. I think that it re-energizes a roster a little bit. I think that it reignites a roster a little bit at times. It just makes everyone have to go back and restate how they want to think about the game, re-look at what our drafts look like in order to incorporate this new player. And it really kind of makes you look at your team holistically again with a fresh set of eyes. And so I know that I come from the Xbox world where even back in those days we were making roster changes if someone sneezed and no one said bless you, it was any excuse to make a roster change back in those days. But I do think it does have a lot of benefits, and if I'm a Scarabs team that has looked like we've regressed in phase 1, we went 1-6, we won one game against an SEC team, and then went 0-2-0-2 in our next 2 sets.
Yeah, I'm replaced faster than you can even have this conversation. That's me. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, it's looking kind of tempting, that's kind of the way that I look at it. I like all those guys. I wish them all success. I want, I don't want it to seem like I've got some agenda or something like that. I don't. I just think that it's an interesting talking point. And I think all I'll say is that if they aren't seriously talking about whether or not they need to, regardless of the outcome of that conversation, I think that's a mistake. I think they are at a point where this should be a wake-up call and think, are these the best 5 guys we can put together right now? And that, if the answer is yes, then the answer is yes, and you can do what you will. But I don't know, man. That was a rough week. That was a rough week.
Yeah, I will say Hounds did look pretty good against them, but I think, again, it was like Scarabs just making a lot of mistakes, over and over again. Not to take anything away from Hounds. I do think they obviously deserved the spot with how poorly Scarabs were playing, but I really think Scarabs just beat themselves. But I mean, like you said, Aggro, they went 1-6. They looked really bad, and then having a performance like that, just, I don't know. It just felt so weird. I feel like you can't even blame the meta for that, because their decision making was just so uncharacteristic. I don't know. Maybe you can just chalk. What'd you say?
I said it's the same thing they always have.
Yeah.
They I totally agree that they beat themselves.
Yeah, it's their early game is so strong, and then they always hit there's a bad Gold Fury fight, or a Pyro fight, or a Fire fight, and they just consistently have that issue. I completely agree. Well, they
just need to walk away. They need to be able to see a situation that's tough and walk away from it. A team like Leviathans, if the situation is not what they want it to be, they don't force it hard. You'll almost never see them do it. They'll say, "This is too awkward. Let's wait for this to be up and then we'll do it, or let's try something else." They might walk up to a Phoenix and realize, okay, we can't push this. We didn't set this up right. We need to do this differently, and they'll walk away and they'll fight Fire again if they have to. But the Scarabs, they will never do that. If they're let's invade this red, and then 4 of them are there ready for the red invade, even if it looks terrible when they get there, they're there. They're committing to it and they're going for it. And I think if they can learn to take a step back, analyze their situations, and not hard commit on the first call that somebody makes, things will go a lot better. Someone's got to know these guys full commit on a frontliner with the whole enemy team around at 25 minutes. with both teams around. They're literally trying to like nem alt burn a frontliner like it was like a level 5 play. Surely they realize that's not great when they get there, you know? Like maybe if that's their plan going in, they can make those mistakes, but they have to be able to just make better plays at those later stages in the game, in my opinion. If they can learn to take and leave, then they'll be so much better.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we don't know like their exact comms, but do you think it's a Scream issue, or do you think it's like a Bobby issue, or do you think it's like a mix of both?
It's impossible to say, really. Like, I mean, I've obviously played with Scream, and I know how he is to a larger extent. I know that like he has his ideas about how he wants to do things, and if he says he wants you to do something and you don't do it, he gets like pretty frustrated. So I've got a feeling the way that team has like come to be is, and like how they originally gained success is Scream would have good ideas about like what he wants to do, and he would tell people exactly what he wants them to do, and they would do it, and it would work out. But if Scream's ideas are not good, they don't have they never developed this system to me to actually like check bad ideas. Like they don't have they're almost like not allowed to say, no, we don't want to do that, it's a bad player, like I can't get to you, or why don't we try doing something else. It's sort of like a do what Scream wants to do, and that's what we do.
Right.
And I don't think that you can be a great team that way. Like every component, every person is very important and pivotal to making any kind of decision making in Smite. You know, you can't see because of we're in a third person perspective. You kind of need everyone to pitch in information to make the best decisions.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think that's probably overselling it a little bit, but I do think that is definitely somewhere in relation to the issue that's going on. And so yeah, they do have to have one of those conversations, in my opinion, and like look back at it. I don't think they're not salvageable. Like you guys said, we saw them do great last year. You know, they did change one player, and the meta has changed a lot recently, but they just have to like build up again a bit, which is hard and tough, but they have to be willing to do it if they want to see success.
Do you think that this is the mental breaker that like they won't be able to recover from?
It's possible, for sure. I mean, this is as bad as you can get, literally. I mean, you literally like did about as bad as you could have. I mean, they beat one of the SEC teams, the team that literally doesn't scrim. But the other SEC team, they got 2-0'd like pretty convincingly, and it didn't look good. So that's about as bad as it can be. So if anything's going to be a mental breaker, that would be it.
Yeah. And let's be clear,
I don't know how you talk your way around it, honestly.
And it's not like they got unlucky in both the SEC games. They threw them, something like that. Like, they got beat draft to execution from minute 1 to end a game against the Hounds. Like, it was not close.
That is something I wanted to bring up. Saladin and chat talked about El Leon. I think El Leon had like one of the best performances of any player I saw this tournament.
Yeah, I thought he played really well.
I think he actually hard carried that roster. I was insanely impressed with him. I know he was like kind of beating himself up on Twitter about it, but I think he actually hard carried this weekend. Like I'm normally like on the fence about him, just because I think his community kind of like oversells him a bit.
Yeah, it's natural. Would you know anything about that, Barry, potentially? A community like overselling someone, you know, saying that they're like the best of all time, and just no other hunters like even close to, or any player, in their role is like even close to them, and just like the sweetest guy of all time. You know anything about like anything like that?
No, I don't think your community does that.
Yeah, I don't think so either. They're really good about being realistic about where
They're really good about fact checking you. But yeah, I've always been probably a little too harsh on El Leon. But I think this weekend, I think he actually, like, I was insanely impressed with him with everything he was doing. And I think if anyone's getting a call up, I think it's him, like 100%.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny you bring him up, because I was going to bring him up when Hurry was talking about, you know, how the shot calling works, and how no one is, if he had to guess, that no one is calling off Scream from these plays. You know, it's no secret that I'm a huge fan of Andy or Elion. You know, we were teammates whenever I played, and he was very much that way, the same type of shot caller that Scream is, where this is what we're doing, and be here or get frustrated at me. Like, those are the only options. And I think that we really, again, it was a much lower level of competition, especially back then, but the system that we developed that I thought worked really well for us was that Andy would do all of the shot calling. We would all give him information, all that kind of stuff, but he would move us around the map as he wanted to, but it kind of developed into where I would have like the veto button. Like if I thought it was bad, I would call it off, and like Andy was doing 99% of the calls, but if I said no, that was it. We were done. Like that was my word was absolute in that moment, and if it was wrong, it was wrong, and that's on me. But just having that, whether it's a person or a system in place where you have someone who has that veto power over your top shot caller, I think just lets them. I think it took a lot of pressure off of him to always be right, because he knew that if something was actually bad, he wouldn't it wouldn't just be called in the moment, right? You have someone kind of overseeing you that you can push some boundaries, and they'll call you back when you go too far. And I think that it really frees you up to do things in that type of situation.
It's also, in my opinion, really good if it's kind of like a frontliner backliner thing, where people in the back can obviously see the team fight in a way, or the general like game plan in a completely different way than a frontliner can. Not in like a bad way or anything, but it's just we view the game differently. And if a frontliner like wants to force things like so hard, for instance, for chat, like if our relics are down the back line, or if their like enemy blinks are up, or if we don't have ults, or if like we, like Hurry brought up earlier, if we can just reset off this Phoenix and go back to fire and get ward vision over there and just make the smarter play, I think that is a really big thing. And honestly, it might just be that for Scarab, Scream is doing way too much, so he's not focusing as much on like his micro play, and he's like having to do macro play non-stop, which is making his individual decision making way harder for like what buffs we're defending, what buffs we're invading, are we going for mid hard piece here, like every like 30 seconds to like 45 seconds you need a new game plan on the map. And if he's doing that non-stop, like it's a really hard job.
Yeah, it's funny. So 3 Leaves in chat says that's pretty draining, though. You need a couple shot callers to alternate.
Yeah.
I don't think you guys realize how hard it is to be a level of communicative you need to be, and how locked in. Like, even if you're not doing any sort of macro shot calling, the amount of information you need to be intaking and relaying anyways, yeah, it's draining. That's why it's freaking hard. Like, that's the point. And that, in Smite, in Counter-Strike, in whatever esport you want to talk about, shot calling is so important because it is hard. Like, it is so mentally draining. You have to take in so much information, be able to communicate your thoughts, be on the same page with 4 other people or more, and then hit all your buttons on top of that. I really don't think the average player, understands how difficult it is to compete at that level. And that's not even taking into consideration the amount of mechanical difference and game knowledge difference there is at a baseline level. So, it is draining. It's hard. There's no doubt about it. T, do you know if there's any way that, like, if someone did want to understand the game at a deeper level, or maybe get better, climb a little bit in the ranks, are there any resources they could use in that situation, you think?
That's a great question, and that's honestly something I've been spending a lot of time thinking about recently. I thought, there's a need for that. So it's actually funny that you asked that, because I actually coach on a website called Edify. I do.
What?
Yep. I do. And I do custom rates as well. If you don't like what's on there, you can DM me and we can sort something out.
Wow. Flexible,
It's a pretty nice system. I've had
and flexible prices
50
too.
different people.
How much money do the Scarabs have?
More than listen, I'm pretty expensive when it comes to things like that. Okay, there's a lot of work to do. Okay? But if they want to put up the money, I am.
Yeah, man.
I'm happy to help out.
To quote Scream, come on. Hey.
Nah. I love those guys. I feel a little bit bad giving them such a hard time, but I mean that's their job, you know. It is at the end of the day, it's their job. It's like why I came around to criticism. I still don't love it, but like it's part of what they do. You know, it's part of like what we do, I suppose.
Yeah, it's a part of the ecosystem.
You're just at the forefront of attention, and people care about. If you want people to care about you winning, people are gonna care about you losing. And
absolutely.
Let everyone down. Like you got to live with that, you know, and you got to do your best to remedy it. That's like part of the game.
Yeah.
So at the same, I feel bad because I like them, but at the same time, you know, like.
Oh yeah, I love everyone's Scarabs, but I just. I mean, as a fan of Scarabs, I'm equally as disappointed, you know, like, I expected them to, like, be in our group 100% and to give us, like, a big run for our money, and then to see them fall as flat as they did, like, honestly, I'm, like, obviously irked about it. Like, I'm like, why are you guys playing this poorly? I mean, people probably have done that to me, like, every single time, especially in Season 6. Like, why can't you guys just secure a Fire Giant? It's not hard.
Yeah.
So, you know, I've been there.
No, I mean, if you imagine how boring this would all be if we were just talking about how awesome everybody is all the time. You know, that there's got to be some negatives in order to make more space for the positives. And you know, it's never personal, but it's what makes it full of drama and interesting. So always. There's certainly a line, though. You know, I only had one First Take moment. First Take is a sports show where they have like these absurdly scorching hot takes that are just like completely indefensible, but it just gets like it just generates interaction, right? You know, that's kind of how it is. Sam is asking for a week 2 prediction. I guess for who's gonna win Masters. Is that what you're asking for, Sam? Well,
I don't even know how
you're just
it
gonna
works.
say you guys, right? Like like you have to. That's how it works.
Yeah, Sam's literally like fishing for a compliment right now.
Yeah, he's just asking.
I know Sam's been doing that a lot lately. They've been doing well.
Yeah, what he gets first seed, and now all of a sudden asks, "Who do you think is playing the best?"
Shameless.
Right now? Yeah, it is pretty shameless, but I kind of respect it. I mean, it is a good thought, I suppose.
Whatever, Sam. You're lucky Erlang's not good anymore. F you, dude.
Who do you think? Who do you think?
Erlang's gonna get buffed at the end of the year, and you guys are gonna be F. F you, Sam.
Gilgamesh is gonna be top jungle again. Sam's gonna be like,
it's gonna be Gilgamesh and back to Gilgamesh and Erlang. We'll see where you're at, buddy. See if you can play the Hebo, huh?
Who do you think's winning Masters here, Tyler?
I don't know. This is one of the first times I feel like I just want to give the generic answer. I mean, I probably just think. I think the Dragons. I'm gonna think the Dragons are probably gonna win everything until people figure out what to do with how they're playing the game right now, with like Pagon's weird picks and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what all the pro teams. I'm not as informed, so I don't know what all the pro teams are doing. I'm sure everyone's got their own like version of what's the best in the meta. I don't know if like it's melded together yet. I'm sure it will over time, like it usually does, but. I think until I'm confident people have the Dragons figured out, they'll probably win. I don't know beyond like that for groups and stuff. It's all up in the air. I think everyone's pretty close, honestly, for the most part. That's at this tournament.
Yeah, no,
besides
I think
maybe the SEC team in Balks, perhaps.
Yeah, I think that's a very defensible take. I also, if I had to pick one team, I think I would pick the Dragons. I think the only other team that I think is giving me my dark horse, so to speak, would be the Kings. That's a team that is typically very creative, and I think that there's definitely a world where they have quote unquote broken it. I think that they not fully like solved it by any means, but I think that they could be the ones that bring the meta that other teams have to adjust to more than they have to adjust to them. So, I think Dragons are Kings, but I think
faith
Dragons
in genetics.
are definitely the safe. Well, you say faith in genetics. I say I guess so. More. I also have a lot of faith in Twig.
It's gonna be either the best. It's gonna be the most genius thing you've ever seen,
or they're gonna lose. Or
the
10
dumbest.
Minutes. Right, the worst
dumbest
thing
you could have ever imagined.
And I'm gonna be glad I watched.
And they will defend it to the death either way.
Oh, 100%. And you know what? I'm gonna be glad I watched. That's all I can say.
Genetics is gonna play Horus and lose and be like, Horus needs buffs.
Yeah, that's Do you think that he like sleep, like if he sleep talks, he's just like laying in his bed, like mumbling Buff Horus in his sleep? Like that man loves it, dude. He absolutely loves it.
He just wants to go faster in the sky, dude.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
Isn't it weird to think that if he moves very, very slightly faster in the sky in Horus, that his day-to-day life would be happier? That would actually make him happy.
It actually would. Not kidding. Absolutely insane. That is almost certainly the best thing we could do for his mental.
You still got the regrowth tech, don't you?
I think so. Yeah.
Well, hopefully he's not in chat. You'll get him started.
Yeah. I don't want to get him started here. We've already
don't want
talked
to get
about
him
it too
started.
much.
No one
all right.
let him know anyone said that.
It's time for the random question of the week. Red Buff Bandit on Twitter tweeted us a great list. They tweeted us 8 questions. They're all fantastic. I don't know if we're gonna do. This episode was a little long, so we're only gonna do one this week.
I didn't look at him because I didn't want to spoil.
Agreed. Neither have I. Hurry, there are 8, and here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to leave it up to our guest each time we have a guest. Hurry, there are 8 questions. I wrote down all 8 so I can cross them off whenever, we'll just like numbers 1 through 8. So I can cross them off whenever we do one. Pick a number 1 through 8, and we will answer that question this week.
2, and you know why.
Oh, this is a tough one. Top 5 cities for food. Have we even been to enough cities? All right, Red Buff Bandit. This one, can we just do one? The best city for food that we've been to? Is that good enough? We're gamers. We're not traveling around enough.
Yeah, I don't really go to cities for food. You know,
That is a bad take. Food is the best reason to travel.
Yeah, but I don't.
Okay.
So.
Well, you don't need to travel. Of course.
Because we have factors.
Oh.
That's right. Well done, T. That's
done.
Of course, no problem.
Yeah, you've been getting some practice.
No problem, guys. I've been working on it.
Yeah. All right, let's just do our favorite city for food that we've been to. Let's do it that way.
Yeah, I still don't have a good answer for this because
you still don't. Bear, how much traveling have you done? I feel like you've been to a lot of lands and stuff in different cities. Yeah.
Yeah, here.
No, in different cities. You know.
Like where?
Didn't you go to Spain?
Yeah, and they closed the restaurants at like 5 p.m.
You didn't eat any good food in Spain.
Well, I mean, I had a decent amount of good food, but it wasn't
those food trucks at the DreamHack. Oof.
Yeah,
those hit different.
Food trucks. What about Barra? Didn't you go to Vegas?
Yeah, I had buffet food. That was not great.
Okay. What about did you go to the California land? I don't think you did, right?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, you did?
And I don't remember the food.
My God, man!
Wait, no! You're actually right. There was a really good, healthy place out there. That was like season 2, right? Season 2.
AFK land.
I have no idea the name of the restaurant, but I actually remember like the interior a bit because it was so good. Okay. Also, the air out there. This is completely off topic. The air out there feels so nice.
Really?
Like.
I've never been to California.
Bro, it is amazing. I don't know why, but like, I mean, I guess Georgia is just like humid and it's just like allergies here nonstop. So I haven't been able to breathe for like 31 years. But outside of that, like when I was in California, I could breathe, and that was amazing.
Awesome. I would love to
so
experience
much oxygen.
Zero humidity. You know, I grew up in Pittsburgh. It's very humid there, even though it's not. The South, there's a lot of water in the area with the 3 rivers and all that kind of stuff, and it makes it very humid in that area. And now living in Georgia, it's unbelievably humid. Going somewhere with no humidity sounds very nice. I would like to go to California at some point.
I mean, my default lame answer is just like Atlanta because I've eaten a lot of food in Atlanta.
Yep.
A lot of good food in Atlanta, but like I don't like travel to Atlanta. Like I don't know. Like it's just like. It's where I grew up.
Bro, I've got a sandwich spot in Atlanta. This is I can just say it on the podcast. I don't need to keep it a secret. Victory Sandwiches. It's near Little 5 Points, and there's also one in Decatur. Unbelievable. One of the best, like, definitely when I have friends come and visit and they haven't come to Atlanta before, that's a place that I take them. That place is absolutely unbelievable. So good.
I did go to, me and Destiny went to Slutty Vegan for her birthday.
Oh, how was it?
And, oh my goodness, bro. Delicious. Absolutely banging. It was like banana pudding, I think. and it was some of the best banana pudding I've ever had. The burgers were delicious. The fries were delicious. Like, oh my goodness, delicious. Just so good.
You hungry, Vera?
Yeah, dude, I made okay. This is terrible podcast material. But you see how big this bowl is?
That's a big bowl. It's
I filled
it's bigger than the size of his head for all podcast listeners.
I filled this whole thing with food, and I'm like down to like an eighth of it. I've been munching away on it since I started streaming today. I made like a cheesy burrito bowl with like cauliflower and lettuce and beans, and it's delicious.
Love to hear it. If only you didn't have to make it at all, and you could have had a delicious meal from
in 2 minutes.
And then you wouldn't have to clean up either.
2 minutes.
Hurry, how about for you? Do you have a favorite food city?
Favorite food city? Yeah, I guess probably Philly when I went there. Had some really nice food. I really like the Philly like Grease food, to be fair.
Yeah. So, did you have the 2 famous cheesesteak spots?
Yeah, I went to a place called Geno's.
Yeah, Geno's and
I don't even remember.
I think the other one starts with V. Is Sam still here? He's got to know, right? He lived in Philly. I don't remember what the other one is called. Pat's, that's right. Thank you, Pam. Yeah, Pat's and Geno's. Do you guys know that I've only been to Philadelphia once? I grew up in Pittsburgh. It's the same state, but it's a pretty far drive. It's like 6 hours.
Goodness.
I only went to Philly once. It was to film that documentary we did season 5. It was between season 5 and 6. And we went and like filmed on location for where a lot of SPL players were living. And we went to Philly to meet Sam and his family. And we didn't get a chance to go to Geno and Pat's because we were there for so little time. And I really regret that. It was very cold while we were there, though. I remember that. But yeah, it was good. I wish I would know if it was good. Philly was okay, though. What is going on in my brain? We have to end this podcast. My answer is cheating for sure. By far, the best city for food I've ever been in, not close, is Florence, Italy. Every piece of food I had there knocked my pants straight off. I got arrested every meal for public indecency. It was a real problem for me. I can no longer go back, and it was absolutely worth it. Every single meal I had was just one of the best things I've ever tasted, and I want to go back so desperately.
Yeah, that sounds delicious.
My God, dude! Literally, like you'd be like in a little convenience store. They'd have like a little caprese sandwich, just like some bread, a couple slices of tomato, fresh mozzarella, and a little bit of balsamic vinegar. And it was like, I would have paid $50 for this thing in the United States, and it would have been nowhere near as good. There, it's like €3, and not even. It's like €2, and like one of the best things I've ever eaten.
What? Are you moving there or what?
Dude, Florence is the most perfect place I've ever been in my entire life. Like, it's the most stereotypical like, if you close your eyes and picture like Italian city, you're like picturing Florence. Like, the architecture is exactly what you would expect. It's not like super modernized, but it's not super old school either. All the food was amazing. Everyone there was super nice.
That sounds wonderful.
It was the most magical place I've ever been in my entire life. If anyone's planning on traveling internationally, I cannot recommend Florence enough. It was the most unbelievable place I've ever been, and I can't wait to go back. All right, that does it for the Backliners this week. Thanks so much for watching or listening. Make sure you support the podcast by going over to go.factor75.com/backliners120 and use code backliners120 to get $120 off. Seriously, a great product. Make sure you're checking them out. Big thanks to Hurry for coming on the show. Hurry, what's is your Twitch link just twitch.tv/Hurwind? Is that the case?
That's right. That's me.
What's your Metafy link for all these people who want to get some coaching from you as well?
Metafy.gg/@Hurwind.
/@Hurwind. Seriously, Hurry, an absolute genius about the game, and you will definitely learn a lot. So highly recommend booking a session with him. We'll be back next week to talk about who wins Smite Masters. which will be fun. So thanks everyone for watching/listening. Give us a rating, all that kind of good stuff. Barry, you know what to do.
Bye.
Took a week off of it, and you still got it.
Yeah, a little tapered off in the middle there.
I thought I might have surprised you almost. I kind of closed it a little quickly at the very end. I thought I might have caught you off guard, so that's maybe on me.
It was just my throat not wanting to cooperate with me. I've been really allergy-y lately. Yeah. My allergy pills aren't working as well.
Just like snorting.
What?